Told the Abba, all praises to you, Abba Yahuah, hallelujah, King Yahushua, yes.
Quiz Q, play that beat again.
Told the Abba to give a life for this fallen tree. I say connected, you promise my leaves forever green. I know forever seems beyond my wildest dreams. You cultivate with the breath of life, you deliver me. I need your energy flowing all to the enemy. You suffer curses, the scars as deep as the rivers be. I see the injuries taking blows from the enemy. We march on to the beating drum on these bloody streets. Your luck can supersede the lust of man's greed. If we could only just step away from idolatries. How can two men walk if they do not agree? I plan to see from our spiritual eyes and see we get the victory. What is less important? If it ain't the words of my Abba, I can't endorse it. Trials are hard, I would not forfeit. I know fruits of the spirit is my portion. I trust you for higher learning. The vanities of this world I'm not concerned with. I pray that you keep my eyes open, give me discernment. A wretched man that desires to be a servant, I'm turning to the only thing I know that is perfect. You know the hidden things deep beneath the surface. My purpose to be a workman who need not be ashamed with the gift that was given. I'm praising in foreign language. You give vision to the blind sight and blind the minds of those who sold their soul like the birthright. Guess the people chose and now they oppose media crack pipe. Ended with an O. What do you know about the high price? And since I'm nothing but a vessel, I learn to know my place and stay humble. I'm nothing special, just look at the sentence of Jacob, my forefather who wrestled the battle king. He held on to the blessing. Hit by the socket, he gave birth to the brethren. Yasharal, we need spiritual progression. Connection with the Torah, we stand against deception. I pour my heart out in a session. My brothers keep on my actions, I often question it. Strive for perfection, I fall hard in these lessons. Forgiving me 10, 7 times 7. Forgiving me 10, 7 times 7. Yeah, forgiving me 10, 7 times 7. Yeah, forgiving me 10, 7 times 7. Thank you, Abba. Forgiving me 10,
Quiz
7
Q,
times
play
7.
that beat again. Awesome, silly. They think I've gone crazy because I chose Christ over what they think. Worldly situations just don't faze me. Too busy making sure my Father saves me. When He takes me, mind over matter, gave it all to Him. Time's getting sadder, put your trust in Him. No need for vaccines, they tryna steal and kill. Want vengeance, but it belongs to Him. All we can do is
Luke 8:10. And he said, Unto you it is given to know the mysteries of the kingdom of God, but to others in parables, that seeing they might not see, and hearing they might not understand.
Hey, blessings, Shabbat Shalom, all the kings and queens that scattered abroad throughout the diaspora, man. I truly do hope that your Shabbat has been absolutely blissful, filled with happiness, joy, and shalom. I want to say that I love you, family. This song right here, man, it's a dagger, man, because it talks about Luke chapter 8. And in Luke chapter 8, families, man, it talks about these 4 characteristics, different type of characteristics of people. And let's go there. Because she did her thing on that. Just going over Luke chapter 8, verse 10. I got some gems for us, families, man. Hey, I want to give a big shout out, salute, and respect to my brother Jay Breezy, man. How you doing, King? It's good to see you, money. It's good to see you. Hope you ain't out there working too hard. I hope your loved ones, man, love you back, bruh. And I want to say shalom, Shabbat shalom. All right, families, Luke chapter 8. And then we're going to go over the cosmos, man. What they call the universe, families. How they was ordained, the stars, the sun, the moon. We're going to talk about that. We're going to dive in deep on that. So when I heard this song, and I went over Luke 8 a lot, family, especially in my classes. But then when I heard this song by this queen, sis did something that was very special in this, families, when you read down. Check this out. So the name of the song was called Luke chapter 8, verse 10. But guess what happened when Christ give you this parable, a bar? Guess what he's finna go to tell them? Luke chapter 8, verse 9. And his disciples asked him, saying, what might this parable be? And he said, unto you it is given to know the mysteries of the kingdom of our Elohim, but to others in parables, that seeing they might not see, and hearing they might not understand. The question is, who is this they? Who are these people? Now the parable is this. The seed is the word of Yahuah. Those by the wayside are they that hear. Then cometh the devil and taketh away the word out of their hearts, which is out of your mind, lest they should believe and be saved. Now, families, when he sits there and says those by the wayside, these are people, individuals just like me and you. The families, man, we out here, we grinding, we in the trenches, man, but we out here, we trying to get it. But we believe. We believe. Your emunah, your faith is very strong, families, and whatever you are trying to be successful and accomplish in life. But he also sits there and says, then cometh the devil. What is this devil? These devil could be individuals, a person, place, or thing, families. It could be something, families, that's finna be a stumbling block in your greatness, man. It could be anything. It could be a job. It could be family. It could be loved ones. It could be your spouse. It could be your kids. Families, man, it could be a dog, an animal. Yes. Then he sits there and says, and take away the word out of their hearts. The word out of your mind, said families. When people coming out here and they chopping it up with you, they speaking it to you. You know what I'm saying, families? They trying to give you just a little of advice, or what we call a word of wisdom. Check out verse 13. They on the rock are they, which, when they hear, receive the word with joy. Every time you receive anything that's spiritual and that inspired you, give you inspiration, give you hope. Families, man, you is turned up on that. It says it gives you joy. You is filled with that, families, when you receive what? A word of wisdom, man. These ain't cats telling you to go out here and cross another person. They ain't telling you how to go hit a lick. They ain't telling you how to deceive a female or how to deceive a man. These are people, families, that actually got your back, families. They worried about your goodwill, man. They really are. Your well-being. If you get sick, they want to know, man, are you feeling all right? Check this out. They on the rock, which are those that believe, which, when they hear, receive the word with joy, and these have no root. which for a while believe, and in time of temptation stumbled about, a block, a trial. This is when you finna ready to get what? Tested. You finna get tested or tempted. Remember now, families, the Most High test all the ones he loves. It's only Satan, that devil, that comes and tempt you. He the one that sit there and say that you is the one that you say you are, but you really not. You say you do this, but you really don't. You know, he's the one that comes to bring doubt in your mindset, in your heart. In time, and in time of temptation fall away. Verse 14. And they which fell among thorns, which they, when they have heard, go forth and are choked with cares. And they said they are choked with cares and riches and pleasures of this life. These are people that is out here trying to go get it, families, and they ain't gonna let nothing stand in their way. But guess what the Most High is going to tell you about these type of people with this type of characteristics? He sits there and says, and bring no fruit to perfection. Because you too busy worried about me, myself, and I. You too busy worried about me. How can I get this? How can I get a value man or a value woman? How can I see people to see my value? You too busy worried about you and ain't worried about your neighbor, man. You ain't worried about your neighbor. The Most High Satan says, man, that by these two laws, man, by these two laws, love your God with all your heart, soul, and mind, and love your neighbor as you love thyself. You got to make yourself a sacrifice, man, and make others, give love to others first. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. That's crazy. But that's what's going on. Check this out, families. So that's our two different, he just gave you three different types of people. Verse 12 are those by the wayside, and they that hear, then cometh the devil. The second one is people that sit on a rock. When they hear, they receive the word with joy. But he says, but they don't have no fruit. That's your second one. Your third one is verse 14. And they which fell among thorns are they which when they have heard go forth and are choked with cares. These people are your NBA players. These people are your movie stars, your actresses, your actors. These people are your doctors, and that's in the spotlight, man. Families, man, they use their knowledge and their education, families, to get or whatever skill they might got, whatever skill, tennis players, boxing, professional boxers and stuff like that, whatever skill they got. They are filled with cares from everybody. Fans. We call them fans, or most people call them followers or subscribers. A fan to you. And we give you our riches and our pleasures. But the Most High sat there and says they are loving the pleasures of this life. Going out there getting mansions, eating going out there eating at the finest restaurants. Families, man, they out there spending for an average individual, their livelihood, they do this on a monthly basis, y'all, spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, man, on a monthly basis, if not daily. Depends on how deep their pockets are. But they carry no fruit, families. They carry none to perfection. Check this out. Verse 15. Then he sat there and says that these are some people, but that on the good ground are they, which in a honest and good heart, good mind, having heard the word, they keep it. That's why Yahushua sat there and says, man, that you shall keep his saying. Keep his commandments, man. Keep his saying. Keep what? He's telling you to keep something. He says it. That's why he told those that know, you know. Those that know, don't know. He's speaking it to you in a parable. And you got to find out what you got to keep. How you going to sit there and say you believe, but you don't even know what you keep? What you believe so much that you got to keep this guarded, man. What you supposed to keep guarded, families? He told you at the beginning, families, the seed. It's the word of God. Keep his word, man. Man been breaking covenants for a long time, man. A man do not stick. A man's word is not a man's bond anymore like it used to be, man. And we just got to keep it a buck, y'all. That's real talk. I got some jams, though, families. Just to show you, families, that people is out here challenging the minds of those that say that they believe. Check this out, though. Verse 15. And that on a good ground, are they which in a honest and good heart, having heard the word, keep it, and bring forth fruit with patience. Patience is his own greatest virtue, families. 16. No man, when he have light a candle, cover it with a vessel, or put it under a bed, but set it on a candlestick, that they which enter in may see the light. For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad. Beautiful, families. And she made a song on this, families. She's telling you that what she's starting off at for her song is Luke chapter 8, verse 10. But she's telling you to read down, man. Read down. It's telling you different characteristics of people out here that you see on a daily basis. And these are their attributes. You got some that get it, and you got some that don't. Period. Regardless of how you want to live your life, if you out there trying to become the best, whatever, TikTok famous person of all times, it doesn't mean nothing to the Most High. Why? Because you're too busy worried about the pleasures of this life. You're too busy worried about what's going on right now. And you ain't even worried about what's going to happen after you leave. Now that's madness. That's straight crazy, y'all. That's ludicrous. That's insanity. Too busy worried about what's going on here. And you ain't even not once thought about what you're going to be doing after you leave. That's madness, y'all. Let's go.
Closer to my king. I can feel it inside me. I'm getting higher. Yeah. Closer to my king. I'm getting higher. Higher. Feel it in my soul. Sometimes it feels like I'll never get past it. Sometimes it feels like I got stuck forever. But I'm going higher, closer to my king. I'm going higher, higher. I can almost
And then we got one of my elders, Broski Lamar Glenn TV is in the building. Man, Shabbat Shalom, King. Man, it's good to see you, Aki. How you doing, bro? Come on, man. Let's go. Go for that brother right there, some love, families, man. He got a beautiful vibe, families. Beautiful vibe. Come on, man. We got you.
closer to my king. Feel it all over my being. Close my eyes and see what I believe.
let's get it in, families. Let's get it in. Okay, families, man. Now, so I got one of my brothers, man. His name is Shalom Shalom, and this Aki right here, family's been studying the Awaspi Bible for over 10 years, and family say it goes over certain mysteries that you can find within your KJV, and they try to explain it just a little bit deeper for you. You know, so we go over here and we try to challenge his mind a lot. You know what I'm saying? Because uh, our main source is the Bible. You know what I'm saying? We don't go outside of that, but we do go into the the missing documentations or documents that was taken away from the Bible. We do try to find them type of sources, of course, but the Owaspi is something different. So, families, I got scriptures that's actually just going to kind of. I'm looking for a rebuttal of what these scriptures mean, and can you explain it in the Owaspi? We finna dive deep into this. We've been having individuals been doing this for about the last maybe 4 months. Some been doing it past over 5 years, y'all. For real. Debates on this right now. And it's deep. It's deep. If you have an ear, then you can hear. Luke chapter 8, we're trying to tell you about certain people that's out here to be amongst you, families. They look just like you, but families, they have a different type of spirit. They got a different character, man. You got some caste families that act like animals. And you got some people families that act like true human beings, like they was made like gods, man. So with that being said, I'm finna go to another music joint. We finna get a couple of gems, and we finna dive in deep. Let's eat.
I will never know. I will never sell my soul. There's somewhere better. Yeah. Streets of gold. That's my goal. I won't let up. No, too much is on the line. Ain't got no time. We in the last times. Vaccines, I'm fine. The most high on my mind. Always on mine. You would be surprised. Wicked world of lies. Who gon' fold tonight? Have you chosen night? Open your eyes. It's time to big aside. Are you gon' fold tonight? I never sell my soul. I won't sell my soul now. I go first. Are you gon' fold tonight? Won't sell my soul now. Yo. Nah, 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 nah.
Let's go.
Abba took me out the dirt. He said that I'd be back, but I'd be coming through a hearse. He told me I'm a god, but I'ma die just like men. Before I go, please forgive me for my sins. I repent. I got my eyes on the kingdom. Why focus on worldly things I can't bring them? Why be a slave to my flesh? He set me apart from the world. Why live in sin like the rest? I put on my crown, it's giving impress. My goal is them gold streets, not to impress nobody. I'd rather be nobody. I wanna meet the king and put on a new body. New me who this. Old friends they switched. They seen I changed it. They took offense. And I hate to see them go, but they ain't wanna see me grow. I would never sell my soul. I could never let this go. Let this go. Wanna see those streets of gold. Praising you, it never gets old. Vaccines, I'm telling them no. I just wanna go. I will never know. I will never sell my soul. There's somewhere better. Yeah. Streets of gold, that's my goal. I won't let up. No, too much is on the line. Ain't got no time. We in the last times. Vaccines, I'm fine. The most high on my mind. Always on mine. You would be surprised. Wicked world of lies. Who gon' fold tonight? Have you chosen night? Open your eyes. It's time to big aside. Are you gon' fold tonight? Won't sell my soul now. Nah, 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 nah.
let's go. Man, to our loving sisters out there, man, the queens of Zion, man. We love you.
The word Seminole is not even an Indian word. It is derived from a Spanish word, cimarron, meaning runaway slave. And so from the beginning, you don't have an Indian tribe. It was a multi-ethnic coalition.
Historical evidence documents their close relationship. Blacks became chiefs, signed treaties, and served on the tribal council. They intermarried. They were equals, Opala says, and the Indians depended on them as warriors and interpreters. So there absolutely is proof of the Black Seminole importance to the tribe.
Absolutely. There's a lot of intelligence information that passes back to Washington. For instance, General Jessup, the commanding general, writes back at one point to the War Department and says, the Negroes rule the Indians. What he was referring to was the fact that no significant decision was ever taken in the Seminole councils unless the black members agreed to it.
Let's go. Let's get some more. Let's get some more.
Because of you. Because of you. Because of you. Yeah, yeah. Because of you. It's all because of you. Because of you. Yeah. I'm an overcomer, teach my hands to war and my fingers to fight. Because of you, I was able to change my life. I was blind, but I knew I wasn't living right. Because of you, I ain't lose my mind. I could've lost it all, you saved me from the fall. Flaws and all, you just want me to play my part. Love you and trust you, why is that so hard? To no one above you, there's only one God I serve. Turned away from your ways, I had some nerve. Look at how far I can't reverse. Could've been in a hearse, or it could've been worse. Yeah, eternal life is the goal. Yeah, yeah. Fear the one who can't kill your soul. In this faith I'm standing 10 toes, and it's because of you. It's because of you. You saved me from the rain. But I survived. Heal me from the pain. Everything I went through. Cleanse me from my ways. There's power in your name. Teach my hands to war and my fingers to fight. Because of you, I was able to change my life. I was blind, but I knew I wasn't living right. Because of you, I ain't lose my mind. I could've lost it all. You saved me from the fall. Flaws and all, you just want me to play my part. Love you and trust you. Why is that so hard? To no one above you, there's only one God.
Come on, Miss Papa.
And that's facts. When I was in the world, I made a lot of mistakes. I ain't going back. I overcame so many things. Could've fell for the trap. I seen so many lives fall by the
Hey,
wayside.
we got you.
But you saved mine, now it's game time. If the serpent wanna play that game, that's fine. I'ma step on him like a big stepper. I ain't losing your love, it don't get no better than this. You saved me from the rain. Heal me from the pain. Cleanse me from my ways. There's power in your name. To war and my fingers to fight. Because of you, I was able to change my life. I was blind, but I knew I wasn't living right. Because of you, I ain't lose my mind. I could've lost it all. You saved me from the fall. Flaws and all, you just want me to play my part. Love you and trust you. Why is that so hard? To no one above you, there's only one God.
Hey, man, my brother Chris, I made it in the building, man. I see you. I made one of the Shabbats, man. Shabbat shalom, King. Salute. Respect. Hey. We got you, man. Hey, Chris, man. We got Lamar in the building, man. Come on, man. Man, King Fred, I see you out here, man. Salute. Respect. Let's go, man. Overcomer. Man, sis said overcomer, families, man. She said teach her hands how to war and her fingers to fight. Come on, man. Quit playing with her. Let's go. Good to see you, Chris, man. Rambo Yacht Military. Come on, man.
And was absolutely blown away upon doing some research. I'm always intrigued with new information on African or Afro-diasporic history, so I really appreciate this subscriber reaching out. That being said, I wanted to properly prime the Afro-descendant world for this particular history. I think it's worth mentioning that there are some blind spots with the story, and depending on the source, one may find slight accusatory language concerning the intent or purpose of any party involved. So there are multiple ways of looking at this history, none of which can be conclusively deemed erroneous. In this video, I'll be taking a more conservative approach, and I'll try my best to avoid advancing any presumptive narratives. Let's begin with a quote that introduces the topic well. Laura Adorkor Kofi was a mysterious woman of great charisma who founded the African Universal Church in the 1920s. Like George Alexander McGuire, she provided a religious framework for the black nationalist ideology of Marcus Mosiah Garvey during her brief ministry. So who is Laura Kofi? Mystery only seems to follow her because of later accusations, but most scholars seem to agree that Laura Adorkor Kofi was indeed a princess from Ghana. Miss Kofi claimed to be the daughter of King Nisipi. After the country of Ghana was formed, like many African nations, the old traditional kingdoms and people were still respected and held some social and political influence, at least on the local levels. Miss Kofi descended from one of these old ruling classes and lived her life accordingly. As a young princess, she was converted to Pentecostalism, and with her, she felt compelled to start preaching herself. After her conversion, in 1924, Miss Kofi began hearing voices and having visions. She ignored this experience and began traveling within Africa. One source connects the 3 near-death illnesses she suffered as a result of her. After surviving her 3 illnesses, she decided to listen to what the visions were trying to tell her and move to the United States. Her call was accompanied by a number of dreams and visions in which she was visited by God, whom she referred to as her old man God. God wished her to come to America. She arrived at the beginning of 1926. Arriving in New York after her journey through Europe and Canada, she was intent on getting African Americans to return to Africa. Kofi was an extraordinarily powerful and captivating orator. She began giving principal addresses at UNIA meetings in Jacksonville, Tampa, St. Petersburg, and Miami areas in 1927. Division reports told of Kofi keeping her audience spellbound for hours and drawing in several hundred new members over a period of a few weeks. A Jacksonville reporter said that the princess speaks every night in the week and twice on Sunday. Previously, in 1926, Princess Kofi assumed a position of leadership in a local UNIA chapter. The UNIA, or Universal Negro Improvement Association, was founded by Marcus Garvey. The next year, she and some fellow Garveyites from Miami visited Marcus Garvey in prison. The speed of her popularity drew some suspicion and undoubtedly some resentment from certain individuals in the organization. Garvey supporters began accusing the princess of being a fraud. When Garveyites suspected that the princess was raising funds to buy ships for a repatriation program that would transport Afro-descendant people back to Africa, things immediately became more hostile for her. According to Garvey's supporters, Kofi acted without official authorization to collect funds in the UNIA name for the purchase of a sawmill in Africa and boat fare to that continent. Garvey's supporters suspected that she was taking advantage of Garvey's popularity among blacks to raise money for her own use. As a result, Garvey disassociated himself from her in 1927. His supporters accused Kofi of fraud, claiming her real name was Laura Champion and that she had been born in Athens, Georgia. It would seem as though the mystery surrounding Laura Kofi's origin began here in 1927, or perhaps it was simply vocalized during that time. However, according to one source, it wasn't until later in the 1960s that her account was verified. Miss Kofi denounced the UNIA and established her own movement under the name African Universal Church. She took the Garveyite ideology and themes. She proclaimed, and I quote, "Go back to yourselves, that's back to Africa, and that is back to God." Her speeches and new organization drew in many former Garvey backers to her cause. The princess had big dreams and hopes for the African American community and Africa. She wanted a commercial tie between Africa and the African diaspora. Unfortunately, on March 8th, 1928, a horrible day for the black community in Miami took place. Nearly despondent, the princess was assassinated. As Kofi was addressing a large and enthusiastic crowd of her followers at Liberty Hall in Miami on March 8th, 1928, an assailant forced a pistol through a crack in the door and shot her to death. The enraged crowd who witnessed the assassination beat to death a Garvey loyalist whom they believed to have pulled the trigger. The legacy of the Ghanaian princess lived on as her supporters continued to advance her ideas at the African Universal Church. Since her death, the church developed several programs and established communities such as Adorkaville and Jacksonville. Well, I'm all out, guys. If you like these videos and want to help in this continued production, consider supporting the home team on patreon.com. The link is in the description box below. Know thyself. Remember your ancestors. Peace.
Let's go, kings. Let's go, queens. Let's go, Yashara. Hey, kind of that family. And everything must kind of like. And in this season, though, in this due timing, you know what I'm saying? The Most High sat there and told us, man, family, that we must be patient, especially when you go to John the Revelator, and it tells you about the patience of the saints. Let's go, man.
You did your thing with this Money XO, let's get it.
Poetry of Malak. The Heavenly Father. Don't got a purple camera. Ain't gotta lie when I get on the mic. I gotta be an example. I really live everything that I write. No, I ain't breaking the code for nothing. Never was one who would follow the hype. And I'm a soldier, so I ain't the type that ain't gon' put up a fight. I really live it in real life. 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 They tryna see what it feel like, but I gotta live it in real life. I really live it in real life. I really live it in real life. What you know about fasting? What you know about praying and asking? Then you get the same thing you was asking. Type stuff you can only imagine. Having thoughts about wanting to mansion, but your word made vain thoughts vanish. Now your will became my passion. I'ma show the whole world like bragging. What you know about close friends gon' ghost. Now you got no friends at most. All your new friends like truth friends, your new sisters and bros. Once this inner circle start closing in, no new friends when it's closed. I trick myself, but I know every one of us gotta fuck with something be hard to let go. Make confessions about your past that you tried to keep on the low. Got married to a couple sins, but let them go just to grow. And these testimonies not in the book, but type of stuff that get wrote. Don't got a purple camera. Ain't gotta lie when I get on the mic. I gotta be an example. I really live everything that I write. No, I ain't breaking the code for nothing. Never was one who would follow the hype. And I'm a soldier, so I ain't the type that ain't gon' put up a fight. I really live it in real life. 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 They tryna see what it feel like, but I gotta live it in real life. I really live it in real life. I really live it in real life.
Hey. Come on, family. Hey, you know how Yashara do it. Let's go, Zion. Hey. Let's go. Hey. Let's go. One more joint, man.
Never thought this would be easy. Never thought life would be easy. But I know you helped me love for sure. And I know it's all from above. The Heavenly Father's been teaching us often to learn and listen. Flee division. No talking, we live it. it shows. Even on the days that I had me, and I know I'm a handful of times. It took me some time to get in line. My father had to renew my mind, 'cause I know I wasn't right. He sent me a good man, he a part of your plan, and I'm thankful for that. I never wanna waste that, never will I forget about you. Feels good to know ain't no comparison to no other man.
All right, families, man, let's get it, families. Let's go, man. I hope you got your pen. I hope you got your pad, families. And we finna try to pick our brother brain a little bit, man. We're gonna pick his mind a little bit, families. And unfortunately, he don't know that I'm doing this video, but families is nothing of bad will, families. It's just that his studies over the past 10 years over Del Waspi, and as well try to bag it up with the KJV, families. He's doing what they call the battle of the gods, man. He's doing what they call the battle of the gods, families. He's not going against culture. Well, some cultures he is going against because it's from a false deity. From a false deity, man. You know, so he's up against that. With that being said, families, I got my scriptures. It took me a couple of days, families, to come up with my scriptures. Of course, from a brother, man, that's very seasoned in his areas of learning and understanding within wisdom and knowledge. So I had to give a big salute and respect. Without further ado, Shalom Shalom with the cosmos, mysteries, and the pyramids. Let's go, man. Trust me, families, I got my scriptures too, though. Let's believe that. Just like he go on the book, chapter, verse. Families, I want to go to the book, so if y'all vibing out with me, man, we finna go to book, chapter, verse as well.
Waspi, in the book of Jehovah, chapter 4, verse 15, it states right here with this one verse. It states, first as vapor, the vortex carry it forth, and as it condenses, its friction engenders heat, and it is molten, becoming as a globe of fire in heaven. This is the first stage of all celestial bodies, sun, moon, and stars. Let me verify that, because in the book of Cosmogony and Prophecy, chapter 1, it validates that all is one universal principle. Like it states here. You get it? Right? We're going to show and prove like we always do. Scientifically, mathematically, theoretically. We're going to show righteousness. Even if it's allegorical. Alright, so where we at with it? Book of Cosmogony and Prophecy. And I'm just looking for the very first chapter 1, verse 1 in the book of Cosmogony and Prophecy. It states that the same principles apply to all the stars, suns, planets, and moons, differing in manifestation on account of size, motion, density, and relative place. So right here it says what? The same principles apply to all. So how does things create? How do things start in creation? First. See, it says first. That's key. Meaning that, nigga, you can't start nothing without this first. That's the point. First, as vapor, the vortex carries it forth. See, the vortex is the first cause of creation. So just as that thing said first, just right here, coming back, precept real quick, book of Jehovah chapter 3, verse 6, it states, for each and every corporeal world created I a vortex first. See that first came up again? So we just can't talk about creation loosely. We just can't explain.
Okay, now families, man, like in the book of Exodus, or in the book of Leviticus, it talks about the matrix. The matrix is talking about this vortex. Now, families, man, we do have preface of scriptures, families, that's going to, give a identification of where this source come from, where this power come from. So I'm going to let him give his spiel. I'm going to let him mix it up a little bit, families. And then, families, man, if we can add flavor, we're going to add flavor. Just to give it a little seasoning. You know what I'm saying? It got to taste good, families. Remember, families, anything that's bittersweet, you 9 times out of 10 going to west, spit it out. But it's sweet to you. Yeah, man, you're going to drink that all up. Let them mix right quick. Let's see what's happening.
Creation out of order. It got to be orderly done. And then in the Yahuah it says, for each and every corporeal world created I a vortex first. And coming back to the next chapter, it states, first, as vapor, the vortex carry it forth. Carry what forth? Vapor. What is a vapor made up of? Like I said, the minerals, periodic table of elements, is the physical makeup of everything in creation, seen and unseen. So first, as vapor, the minerals, the vortex carry it forth. Carry what forth? The vapor. And as it condenses, its friction engenders heat, and it is molten, becoming as a globe of fire in heaven. Or the first stage of any celestial being coming into creation is a fire, a ball of fire in heaven. What is the sun? A ball of fire in heaven. What is that telling you about the sun? The sun is in the first stage of planetary creation making. The same way the earth is inhabitable, but the earth had to come through this same phase too. Let's get that right here, when in the next chapter over, in chapter 5, verse 14, it states, as a testimony to man, behold, the earth was once a globe of liquid fire. It says, as a testimony to man, behold, the earth was once a globe of liquid fire. What do you see right there in the sun? What is the sun? Is not the sun a globe of liquid fire? What did the Yahuah say that the first cause of creation is? The vortex. What did the Yahuah say the first stage of creation is? First, as vapor, the vortex carry it forth, and it is condensed, and its friction engenders heat, and it is molten, becoming a globe of fire.
All right, now pause. Okay, now, hey, kind of on that, Chris. So, it's going back to Genesis chapter 1 when he's talking about man, form, and void. You're very true on that. That means it was out of order, complete chaos. You know what I'm saying? So the Most High had to bring order to this. Yeah, he brought complete order. You know what I'm saying? And got it out of chaos. Made it into complete perfection off his hands, families. I'm finna let him mix, and then we finna go into our scriptures. Because remember now, families, he is talking about the gods. That's what I want y'all to understand about this brother right here. He believes that he's a descendant baby from an ancient Israelite. But as you increase your knowledge, as you increase your understanding, families, you're going to start realizing, families, that the one and only Lord of hosts is the God of Israel. Period. So you got the God of Israel, who they call Yahuah Sabaoth, or Jehovah Sabaoth, or Yahweh Sabaoth, or Ahaya Sabaoth in Romans, in the book of, I think it's Romans chapter 9. Families, that's what's going on right here. It's the God of Israel against all these other idols, all these other gods. So we're gonna let him mix, and then we're gonna add on our little scriptures. But you right on that. What he's talking about right now is Genesis chapter 1, the first book, man, the first page, when he had to bring that light that was in complete darkness. It didn't have no form. It didn't have no form whatsoever. It wasn't inhabitable at all. That's what this brother is getting into. So he's trying to give you a different type of mystery that you might not read in your KJV. It's in there, but it don't go in deeper depths, or do it. Let's find out.
So what is this telling you? telling you that the sun is in the first stage of creation, while the earth is already in its inhabitable age. So when that sun becomes to the second age, because that's just the first stage, what we just read. First, as vapor, the vortex carry it forth, and as it condenses and its friction engenders heat, and it is molten, becoming a globe of fire in heaven. See that? Then it takes its place as a new world, and I set it in an orbit prepared for it. See that? So it said then, meaning next, I set it in an orbit, and it takes its place as a new world. In the next age, meaning so the ball of fire is one age, but it's not going to stop there. It's going to continue to go to the next stage, which is the next stage I bring it into Simu, for it is right for the bringing forth of living creatures, and I bestow the vegetable and animal kingdom. So if the earth was once a globe of fire, and now the earth is an inhabitable place, we're in that age, the next age. But the sun is still in its first age, the time of creation, or the time that the sun is a globe.
So you see how he's bringing out ages. He's bringing out different dispensations. Now the question is, did our ancient ancestors as well understood these certain ages or these certain dispensations? Like I was trying to say before, families, man, you had what they called the Stone Age, then the Ice Age, then you had the Iron Age, then you got the age of technology. That's what we're in right now. So you have all these different ages during these different times. Let's go to Genesis chapter 1. And back to our brother, man. Just to pick his mind. I just want to pick his mind. So when you go to Genesis chapter 1, he was telling you from the beginning. And this is where it tells you on the very first verse. In the beginning, Yahuwah created the heavens and the earth. He's telling you. So he's saying Jehovah. That's what he's reading in the Old Waspi Bible. Yahuwah and the Waspi Bible is Jehovah. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the spirit of Yahuwah moved upon the face of the water. That's where that light came in. Is when the spirit of Yahuwah moved upon the face of the what? Waters of the deep, families. These is talking about what most people talk about, different galaxies and universe and stuff like that, man. The different heavens, man. In complete darkness, man. What is that light that's shining? It's Yahuwah, the spirit of Yahuwah. Those that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth, that you read in the book of John chapter 6. So families, he's telling you a order without form and void. And void. It was without form and void. Let's go to verse 26. So this is when he's talking about these different gods, because what he's trying to get us an understanding is what do verse 26 mean? Who are these gods? And Yahuwah said, let us make man in our image, our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every put upon the earth. So Yahuwah created man in his own image. In the image of Yahuwah created he him, male and female created. Has not yet been brought upon us, y'all. Adam has not yet came forth. You don't get that into the next chapter. So he want to know is, who is these gods? So when it sits there and says, and God, I'm saying Yahuwah. But he's trying to say, is that really Yahuwah? Or is that some false idols that's going in the replace of Yahuwah? Remember now, families, our Elohim, families, he is the true Elohim. He's the only one true Elohim. There's no other God beside him. So when they keep on saying us, who is this us when it's only him? Let's go.
Fire, but the sun will go through the very stages that the earth went through when it's time. The sun will what? The next age I will bring it into Simu. So the sun will go into an age of Simu, for it will be ripe for the bringing forth of living creatures, and I bestow the vegetable and animal kingdom. So what is that telling you? The sun one day will become an inhabitable planet. Just like the book said right here. As a testimony to man, behold, the earth was once a globe of liquid fire. A global liquid fire is the sun. So at one point, the earth was the sun, as you see right there. And the moon could have been inhabitable at the time. Now, the sun, or the earth, is now inhabitable, and the sun is in its first stage. So once the sun becomes an inhabitable planet, the earth may be a moon. Meaning what? It may be what? What is the next phase after the inhabitation of the planet? What does it say? Next, it enters Hutu, for it is past the age of begetting, meaning it's going to come a time that the earth is going to pass the age where fruit and vegetables and vegetation can generate. It's going to go into extinction. Just like when the fall comes, vegetation goes into extinction. It dries out until you got to wait till spring roll around again. Well, likewise with the races of man and everything on the planet is going to become a desolate place. So it says, next it enters Hutu, for it is past the age of begetting, even as the living who are in Dantage. See that? Next it enters Adu, and nothing can generate upon it. It becomes a dead planet, a barren planet like Mars. Nothing can generate upon Mars. You have to create an artificial reality to live on Mars. See what I'm saying? So the Awaspi.
Pause. That's why you got the creator of Facebook that made us stuff. You know what I'm saying? To trick your minds. These wicked devices that they sit there and tell you, families, that you is not supposed to have pleasure of. What Elon Musk is trying to do with Tesla. They actually used to study up under their ancient mentors, man. And now they challenging all their theories like Isaac Newton, Albert Einstein, and all the other greats, part of their legacy, man. The question is, what is yours? What is your ancient history? What ancient knowledge did your ancient ancestors hold? So he's trying to sit here and tell you how the moon could have been inhabitable, or just as well as Mars. Mars could have been inhabitable. What happened? He sits there and says, until man go into extinction, and then the Most High Man sends you to a different what? People say galaxies, man. You don't read galaxies. Could this be a different time, a different season, a different dispensation? What is that? So we're going to go back to this. Because he keep on talking about the sun, the moon. He keep on talking about the stars. He keep on talking about the shamayins, the heavens. Let's go to Psalms chapter 33. And we're going to start at verse 4, because we're trying to tell you, families, that the seed, the word of Yahuah, is true. It's true, families. And he's telling you, families, that this is where you got to be rooted by. Believe in this, and you will not go wrong. For the word of Yahuah is right, and all his works are done in truth. He loveth righteousness and judgments. The earth is full of goodness of Yahuah. So when he brought that order upon the earth in Genesis chapter 1, when it was without form and void, he brought ordership, y'all. And he says that his word was right, and all the work that he done was true. This is what you is supposed to believe. So then he sits there and says in verse 6, but the word of Yahuah were the heavens made, and all the host of them by the breath of his mouth. He gathered the waters of the sea together as an heap. He layeth up the depths in the storehouses. Let all the earth fear Yahuah. Let all the inhabitants of the world stand in awe of him. Do you understand? When he says and says that by the words of Yahuah were the Shamayims made and all the hosts of them. So when you go down to Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, and it tells you about Yahuah, and he says that he chose Christ and the angels to create all these things, man. He commanded them to do that. I'm trying to tell you, fellas, this brother is going against gods. He's not going against people like me and you. He's going against gods, man, that was out here spewing out doctrines, man, for generations, millenniums. I've been feeling this brother. I ain't even gonna lie. I'm keeping it a buck. Because, families, he's bringing, but he's also not going against the Bible. He's just showing you he's just trying to make you challenge your mind about certain things that's written in the Bible. So me, I'm trying to pick his mind. Let's go.
Showing you the face of creation. All principles apply to these same rules. So when you look into creation, you can determine what celestial age a planet is in based off these principles from the Creator. This is why the Creator said right here in your Waspi, right here. When you know these things, this is what happens when you know these things. Right here. This is what happens. When you know these things, Jehovah say what? Jehovah say what? What is the purpose of the Waspi? He says, not infallible is the book of Waspi, but to teach mortals how to attain to hear the Creator's voice and to see his heavens in full consciousness while still alive on earth. That's what we're doing. Now you have an understanding of his heavens by understanding these celestial ages. So if a God comes to a far off God from across the galaxy come here, he can read the celestial ages that these celestial bodies going through and know where we at.
So when he sat there and says to Shema, he sat there and says that for those that inhabited the earth, the planet, families, it was for us to hear his voice. Only the sheep can hear his shepherd's voice, man. Only the sheep. So what he was bringing out was like what Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 1, Deuteronomy chapter 10. Let's go there, man. Verse 1, chapter 8. Now look at Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse 1. To Shema, man. So Deuteronomy chapter 8. So he's telling us, starting in that verse 1, families. Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 1. It's for us to Shema, families, to what? A command. And keep it. We're supposed to keep it. All the commandments which I command thee this day shall ye observe to do. When you observe something, families, that means that you is putting a magnify. You is magnifying it, families. Like putting it up under a telescope. You was observing it, trying to get an understanding of it, and trying to see it clearly. That ye may live and multiply and go in and possess the land which Yahuwah sware unto your fathers. And thou shalt remember all the way which Yahuwah your Yahuah led thee these 40 years in the wilderness, when he brought you out of the land of bondage, out of the land of Egypt. And he told you that you was going to remember. They trying to say, they ain't part of this time, man. He told you you're going to remember, man. We know it ain't part of this time. He's telling you about a different time. But he said that you still supposed to remember. If you're supposed to keep it. Remember, families, the seed is the word of it, Yahuwah. The seed is his word. keep it. And thou shalt remember all the way which Yahuah our Yahuah thee these 40 years in the wilderness, to humble thee and to prove thee, to know what is in thine heart, your mind, whether thou wouldest keep his commandments or no. And he said, or no. I understand our brother's point of perspective about telling us the mysteries of the cosmos. So when he starts to challenge the minds of those that believe, there was a command that we were supposed to keep so we can remember and prove thee all his works, y'all. And his judgments is true and righteous. Let's go back to our Aki, man. I just want to pick his mind. He got scriptures in the WASP, book, chapter, verse. We supposed to have scriptures. We supposed to have daggers in our sword, families, book, chapter, verse. Use it as a battle axe, families. It becomes weapon of war.
Okay, these cats are under the sun. The sun will be inhabited within the next 2 million years. By that time, the moon will be, the earth will be a satellite to this soon-to-be coming planet. See that? You begin to measure creation like that. These are the mysteries of heaven and earth that the Christian is going to clear up before us so we can understand these things. It's the vibes. Where's the family? That's how we moving, yo. That's the highest science of the Owaspy, man. This shit ain't play. This shit for the grown folks. You know what I mean? If you want to go be angry and jealous, that's kiddie shit, nigga. That's elementary. When you still dealing with tendencies of being angry and jealousy and hateful, those are children tendencies. When you become more of an adult, you become less hateful. You become less angry because you got to control that shit. You become less jealous. How you gonna be jealous? Jealous is a weak trait. What I look like jealous of you at a grown-ass man and a grown-ass woman? You got what you got and I got what I got, but I'm jealous.
Pause. So now what he's bringing out, families, is there's a scripture where it says that our Elohim is a jealous Elohim. And then what this brother is saying is what you need to be jealous for. You got scriptures where it says in part of your commandments, thou shalt not kill. This brother bringing out statements, man, that a waspy where it sits there and says, your Elohim ain't supposed to, you ain't supposed to kill. You know, so you're supposed to love thy murder. You supposed to love thy brother as you love thyself. And your Elohim is a man of war. You know what I'm saying? That's killing, right? That's dealing with casualties. So I'm like, wow, that's deep. That's what he's trying to tell you, man. It's going back to Jeremiah chapter 8. The false pen of the scribes. These lying scribes, y'all. These cats put a work on your... Now you got to go back to what Isaiah chapter 28 or 29. I think it's Isaiah chapter 28. Is it 29? Where it says precept must be upon precept, line upon line. You got to treat this joker like an instruction manual for real. You got to go step by step in order for you to what? Grow in life, elevate. What his question is, are you able to maneuver around the lie, man? That's what I'm saying, y'all. Man. But let's continue. We got scriptures too.
Those are children traits. What we reading right here is grown man and grown woman shit. That's what the Owaspy is. See that? So when you look at creation, the sun is going to be, and the planet that we're on right now is going to become barren, like Mars. You got certain philosophies and certain theories that they'll tell you that, you know, the Martians, man came from Mars, man was created on Mars and brought to Earth. You have all these theories, but it's showing you and placing Mars as a one-time place. And now that Mars is not barren, they said they came to Earth because Earth is inhabitable. But Mars is in its barren state. Earth is inhabitable. Now look at the Earth. The Earth is in its inhabitable region, or its inhabitable phase. But how long? How long? The only way we can survive on this planet is by vegetation. Once the vegetation run out, we die off as a species. So now let's look at a global map of vegetation. That's how you can weigh the world. What did the Owaspi say? You won't be able to weigh the destiny of a whole world. Well, how the hell are you going to weigh the destiny of a whole world? How do you do that? Well, you do that through vegetation. Watch this. That's how you're going to weigh the destiny of a whole world. We'll see where we at. Where we at with it? How long we got on this motherfucker before we got them go extinct? Man is already decimating the planet, dropping bombs, creating goddamn radiation in the vegetation, decimating the goddamn vegetation. Now this is a map of vegetation. Look at Africa. Africa damn near wiped out. The whole northeast of Africa is desolate. That's a sign of planetary barrenness, where nothing can generate and grow. Look at the Sahara. Look at the land of what the Saudi Arabia, the Middle East. Oh, that's desolate. Oh, that shit is dry land all the way to Afghanistan. See that? That's a sign of planetary barrenness. That's how you weigh and measure a whole world, by understanding the vegetation. But look at South America though. Alright, we know where we going. Look at West Africa, it's Congo. Alright, the Africans know where to go to sustain. So, like right here in the book of Owaspi, book of Jehovah, chapter 4. It's verse 18. My examples are before all men. My witnesses are without number. I raise the tree up out of the ground. I give it a time to bring forth fruit, and then barrenness, and then death and dissolution. I prepare new fields with rich soil bringing forth, and the old field that is exhausted. And man shall weigh the progress and destiny of a whole world. The way we're going to understand the weight, the progress and destiny of a whole world is by understanding the vegetation on the whole planet. How much of the planet, how much continent has vegetation in comparison to how much continent has desolate land? Let's look at Australia. Australia desolate as hell. Let me pull up a map. I'm gonna pull up a map of Australia, right? And this is a comparison of vegetation in comparison to dry land. Keep in mind, dry land is barrenness. When nothing can generate and grow on that dry land, it's over. Ain't nothing you can do. You got to move somewhere where the resources is valuable to yourself. You got to go find you some greenery. If you don't find you some greenery, you're going to be.
All right, pause. Okay, family, then we is going to go into, he's going into where they talk about prophecies in Ezekiel, Jeremiah, Isaiah. We're talking about the valley of dry bones. You know what I'm saying? Place is going to be desolate. You know what I'm saying? But I'm trying to go to how he's talking about the creation of it. Let's go to the book of Job. The creation of it. Y'all, let's get it. Job chapter 7 verse 1. Is there not an appointed time to man upon the earth? Are not his days also like the days of an hireling? As a servant earnestly desired the shadow, and as an hireling looking for the reward of his work, so am I made to possess months of vanity, and the wearisome nights are appointed to me. When I lie down, I say, when shall I arise? And the night be gone, and I am full of tossing to and fro unto the dawning of the day. These are you having nightmares in your dream because you can't even get no sleep, man. can't even get no sleep. It's crazy. Because you worrying about things, man, that don't concern you. Let's continue. My flesh is clothed with worms and clouds of dust. My skin is broken and become loathsome. My days are swifter than a weaver's shuttle and are spent without hope. Oh, remember that. My life is a wind. It comes and it goes, man. It comes and it goes. My eye shall no more see good, even if you won't have the opportunity to be able to judge free will. Once you done passed on, now you up under spiritual ordership. You ain't got no choice but to keep a command. Remember, a command and keep it. You ain't got no choice but to keep it, man. That's why I'm taking you here. So I'm showing you a brother. The brother is deep. He's over the Owaspi families, and they talk about the pyramids. They talk about certain things that people say you don't find the pyramids in your Bible. Yes, you do. They talk about the pyramids and the Maccabees. It talks about it ain't in the canon, but it used to be there. It talk about the pyramids, man. But they talk about like this, a Owaspi Bible is just explaining all the mysteries. No, it don't. To me, it doesn't. But this brother is seasoned, y'all. When I mean by seasoned, he's like 10 plus years in this. You know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about the Owaspi. The KJV can answer all the questions of the Owaspi. And that's without a shadow of a doubt. So I'm just trying to put my little 2 cents in. This Job chapter 7, verse 1 through 7. It's a dagger, man. Let's go to the next one. Let's see what else he got to say.
Die in that desert. Huh? How many skeletons out in that desert? So now look at this. This is Australia. Look how barren the land of Australia is. Huh? Look at that. Most of the greenery is on the outskirts. And Australia is very ancient because it's close to the Pacific Ocean. But look at it. How long you think that shit gonna last before that dry land spreads out through the whole continent, and now you got a whole continent that is unsupported by animal and man? You may have some reptiles running around, but for the most part, look at Australia. It's becoming desolate. So once the people of Australia, once that greenery goes, where they gonna go? They're gonna have to migrate somewhere else, or they're gonna go extinct as to the planet. What does the Owaspi say? He says, next it enters Hutu, for it is past the age of begetting, even of who are in dotage. Next it enters Adu, and nothing can generate upon it. That's where they at right now. Nothing can generate upon a dry desert land like that. The resources have been exhausted. That land, Australia, was once full of greenery. Now the resources, the vegetation has been exhausted. And now all you have is a goddamn desert. Try to plant a seed in a desert and see what you get. Make it a cactus. But realistically, that's showing you planetary barrenness. So the Owaspi is showing you the world is going to come to an end when vegetation dry out. That's how that works. Man ain't going to destroy shit. All man going to do is destroy himself, and the remnant of people going to be survivors. And that's what's going to happen. Man ain't going to destroy the planet. The planet been here before man, and it's going to be here after man. See that? Because the planet was here before man, right? Makes sense. You got to be on this motherfucker to survive. The only way you can survive is by eating and drinking. If you don't eat no water, if you don't drink no water and eat no food, you're going to die. You're going to become extinct. So the planet has to be suitable, like a bride to his bridegroom. It got to be suitable for you to even exist on this goddamn plane. So now you exist on the plane. You use the resources of
Paul, so you see how he's comparing this Christ to the bride. It's also taking you to Revelation chapter 12 when it talks about that the earth shall help her, man. You know, it's going to help that woman, families. That dragon's going to be coming. after that woman families. This is dealing with what the church. The church represents what the body families. So it's deep. It's deep, man. You got more than just this though, but it makes you challenge certain things. Let's go. Isaiah chapter 45, man. Isaiah chapter 45. This particular dagger I want is verse 18. Nah, man. You're gonna start at verse 15. Verily thou art Yahuwah, thou hidest thyself. O Lord Yahuwah of Israel, the Savior. They shall be ashamed and also confounded, all of them. They shall go to confusion together. They are maker of idols. But Yasharal shall be saved in Yahuwah with an everlasting salvation. You should not be ashamed nor confounded, world without end. Going back to John chapter 3, verse 16. For thus said Yahuwah, that created the Shemaims, Yahuwah himself, that formed the earth and made it. He have established it which brought order. He created it not in vain, which you read in Genesis chapter 1, verse 2. He formed it to be inhabited. I am Yahuwah, and there is none else. Going back to what he is talking about, right? That's what I'm trying to say, families, man. What's going on there, though, watch me. You can back that up with what Yahuwah is saying. So if he wants to start in the beginning, we can start in the beginning as well. We went to Genesis chapter 1, and we read 1 through 2, just to prove our point that Yahuwah is giving out the command. He's the one that's bringing things that was in chaos, and he's bringing order to it. And that's what we is trying, and he's actually putting that out there like that. What he is trying to sit there and say is that who are these maker of idols that you read in verse 16? They shall be ashamed and also confounded, all of them. They shall go to confusion together. Who is this all of them, and who are going to go into confusion together? And they're going to be maker of idols. You can't make it up, man. Watch. Verse 19, I'm going to end it off. I'm going to end it off in verse 20. I have not spoken in secret. In a dark place of the earth, I said not unto the seed of Jacob, seek ye me in vain. I, Yahuwah, speak righteousness. I declare things that are right. So I'm going basically combating on what Shalom is saying. You saying Jehovah, but he's telling you that, hey, I'm the one that's doing this. You can also back that up in the book of Psalms. We can go there too. Let's go. Verse 20. Assemble yourselves and come. Draw near together. Ye that are escaped of the nations, they have no knowledge, that set up the wood of their graven image and pray unto a God that cannot save. That's deep, man. That's deep. Verse 21. Tell ye and bring them near. Yea, let them take counsel together, who have declared this from ancient times, which we serve the Ancient of the Ancient of Days, who is the God of Israel. Who have told it from that time, have not I, Yahuwah? There is no Elohim beside me, a just Yahuwah, a Savior. There is none beside me. dagger. That's a dagger. Nehemiah chapter 9. All right. It's going to be verse 6. And I also want to get verse 26. Yeah. I ain't going to read all the way down to verse 26, y'all. We're just going to read verse 6 and verse 26. So Nehemiah chapter 9. And we're going to start off at verse 6. Nehemiah chapter 9, verse 6. Thou, even thou, art Yahuwah alone. Thou hast made the Shemaims of Shemaims, with all their hosts. So those that's out here, these false idols, these false gods, that's out here thinking that they is your Elohim. No, families. Yahuwah sent us and I created them too. All their hosts, the earth, and all the things that are therein, the seas, and all that is therein. And thou preservest them all, and the host of the Shemaims worship thee. Thou art Yahuwah your Yahuah, who didst choose Abraham, and brought him forth out of Ur of the Chaldees, and gavest him the name of Abraham. That's deep. Now he's going to start changing your name and stuff like that. He's changing your mindset. He's changing your culture. He's changing your character, fellas. He's leveling you all the way up. All the way up. That way nobody else can steal his glory. Verse 26. Nevertheless, they were disobedient and rebelled against thee, and cast thy law behind their backs, and slew the prophets which testified against them, to turn them to thee. And they wrought with great provocations. We turned our backs on what? And he said we turned our backs on what? The law. What was going to give us structure? What we called our rock and that foundation, what was Christ? It's crazy. Let's go back to this brother, man.
This planet.
I'm just trying to pick
You
his
dig
brain.
oil, you're extracting oil off the planet. Which ain't nothing wrong with. That's what we're put here for, to do, to learn corporeal things. Everything we do, the cities and the airplanes, ain't none of this mistakes. This is supposed to happen. This is for our benefit. It's not for the gods. The gods already done went through this shit. It's for our benefit to learn these corporeal things. Because as above, so below as above. But in the process of utilizing the earth, we're exhausting the earth of its resources. See that? So if we want to keep up with these cell phones, guess what? We got to keep mining the earth. We got to keep digging out. See what I'm saying? If you want, and like agriculture don't last forever. You could grow some shit. You can grow some corn on that soil for a couple of summers, but after a while, that soil gonna become exhausted, meaning that you can't plant no more fruits in that soil because the minerals is deficient now. They've been depleted. They've been used. They've been exhausted. So the same rules that apply to agriculture, the same rules apply to vegetation on the globe. The resources, the soil is going to become exhausted. They're going to use all of its minerals. And it's going to become barren, like you see there. And then the whole planet going to become barren. And then the planet is going to enter the third age, the age of barrenness, where nothing can generate and grow on the planet. And then what comes after that? Dissolution and dissipation. What does it say right here? What is the next age after the planet is in barrenness? So once the whole planet turns into a desert, what's the next age? It says, then cometh ooze and it is spirited away into the unseen realm. Thus create and thus dissipate planets, suns, moons, and stars. So right here, the Yahuah is showing you that after a planet doesn't generate no more, it dissipates. The proof is coming right back to where it starts, because it says first as vapor, the vortex carried. How did it get to
Bones. Now, families, man, this is actually finna to go against the book of Jude. What he talking about the book of Jude now, because what we understand that the planets to be is not planets, but they are actually wandering stars. So what he is calling what could have been inhabited to like Mars and the moon and maybe Saturn, maybe Jupiter. You know what I'm saying? The book of Jude is telling you that they are wandering stars. They are spirits, fellas. So I'm just picking his brain. Let's get another scripture for what he just read out of the Waspi. But let's go to our KJV and let's get a different understanding. Let's dive in deep. And we're going to go back to him. I love this Aki, man. He be on point. I'm trying to tell you, fam. It's the battle of the gods, families. That's what he studied. He's not battling against us. He's battling against the gods that certain religions worship. You know, we're dealing with the heavens, the creator of the heavens, the universe, the cosmos. Let me find something. There you go. Verse 19. So we're going to read Proverbs chapter 3, and we're going to start at verse. We're going to start at verse 15. She is more precious than rubies, and all the things that canst desire are not to be compared unto her. This her is wisdom. Lengthen of days is in her right hand, and in her left hand riches and honor. Her ways are ways of pleasantness, and all her paths are shalom. She is the tree of life. To them that lay hold upon her, and happy is every one that retaineth her. Yahuwah by wisdom hath founded the earth. By understanding, he established the Shalayims. This is going off what he was talking about. Let's go. Talking about wisdom. So he's saying that you're supposed to have what? The knowledge of these things. Who's giving him the knowledge? He's saying Jehovah. In our Bible, and I'm saying Yahuwah. Let's go.
the vapor coming back to the last age? It says, then cometh ooze, and it is spirited away into the unseen realm. Thus create I, thus dissipate. So the last age is dissipation. When you dissipate something, it goes back into a dust, a vapor. See that? And then first as vapor, the vortex carries forth, and the process of creation starts all over again. Just like the 4 seasons, spring, summer, fall, and winter, and the process starts all over again. These are the fundamental principles of creation that the Yahuah renders up. Big difference from your goddamn Bible, your 7-day creation story, and your angry and jealous God. Yahuah is giving you real shit to goddamn measure. There ain't no play. You dig? Linda, I see you. What's the vibes? Chumming in the chat. I see y'all. I see ya. See family chumming back in. Good.
Now what he said right there is taking me like I think it's like Hebrews chapter 10 verse 1. Like, like the Waspi just didn't give us no full explanation. Like, to me, I saw Hebrews chapter 10, verse 1. Let's go. And then we're gonna bag this up with chapter 1, verse 1. Just to show you that it's talking about an order. It's talking about a structure. Hebrews chapter 10, verse 1. For the law, having a shadow of things to come, and not the very image of the things, can never with those sacrifices which they offer year by year continually make the comers thereunto perfect. For then would they have not have ceased to be offered, because that the worshippers, once purged, should have no more conscience of sins. The conscience. Hebrews chapter 1, verse 1. The conscience of sin. Yahuah, who at 33 times and in divers manners spake in the time past unto the fathers by the prophets. So the Most High is clearly giving us prophets. It's giving you people to go over, families. They're gonna give you these ancient studies and learnings, families. This ancient knowledge, families. This ancient wisdom, families. And they're gonna teach you. They're gonna teach you the prophets. They heed you. Have in these last days spoken unto us by his Son, whom he hath appointed heir of all things, by whom also he made the worlds. Order, y'all. So what's going to happen when the kingdom comes? It's going to be full ordership, y'all. It's going to be a royal law. That's what it's going to be. As you read in the book of James. A royal law.
Yeah, we still carrying the lessons, you know what I mean? The Creator's teachings, yo. NASA needs to study Owaspi, then science will make more sense. You're right, man. They do need to study Owaspi. Owaspi needs to be the standard American goddamn Bible at this point, because the shit was produced in America. The Bible came from over there and came over here, made its way over here. Spread the gospel, right? To spread it to the. How are we gonna spread the gospel to the four corners of the world if we stay in one place, right? It says, yeah, westward until they circumscribe the earth. 3,400 years shall thou allude to them to complete the journey. There go the prophecy right there. It's a 3,400 year prophecy. And wherever they go, they shall establish my name, Yahweh, Jehovah. They shall lead all people away from all gods to believe in the great spirit who I am. And when they have carried my name to the west coast of Guatemala, North America, who the hell is these people that carried the name of Jehovah to Guatemala? Who are these people? Huh? And establish me, behold, I will bring the earth in the cosmon. And my angels shall descend upon the earth in every quarter with great power. And it shall come to pass that the faithless or the Israelites of the children of Moses shall find the faithless in the children of Chini and the of Capilia. See that? And all these people shall cry out in that day, no God, El, no Lord, Adonai, no Savior, for my hand will be upon them, and their words shall be my words. But they will proclaim me, the great spirit, the ever-present Jehovah. Now let's be like right now, he's proclaiming Jehovah, the ever-present. We are those who follow the Yahuah, because the Israelites follow what? They follow El Elohim, they follow Yeshua as their savior. They put those deities before the Messiah. Before the Creator. They'll say you got to go through Jesus before you can get to the Father. See, they created a bridge. But right here, it stated what? No God, no Lord, no Savior. For my hand will be upon them, and their words shall be my words. But they will